call tonight's Town of Pompey Planning Board meeting to order via Zoom, June 15th, 2020, close to 7 p.m. This meeting is held via Zoom. It is being recorded and live streamed via Facebook in accordance with the Governor Cuomo's Executive Order number 202-1 dated March 20th of 20, which allows meetings of public bodies to be held remotely, provided the public has the ability to view or listen to proceedings and that the meetings are recorded and later transcribed. Thus, we are meeting via Zoom and it is being live streamed via Town of Pompey's Facebook page. And Veronica, we're good to go?
Yep, you are all good to go.
All righty. From that, we do have the May 18th meeting minutes. They have been sent out. There has been corrections to them. I'd like to make a motion to accept them as corrected. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All right, Carl.
Aye.
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 Any opposed? And motion has carried. Okay, so first on our agenda, Salt Point Realty LLC. It's a public hearing on a 2-lot subdivision at 8710 Cazenovia Road. Tax map number is 005-06-18.1. Before we get to the public hearing, there's a few things that we do need to go over and discuss. First, I'd like to ask Chris or Jim if they want to approach us and tell us anything new since last time that we met.
Only really two new things. There was a question at the last meeting as to whether the prior subdivision map on this property had actually been filed with the county clerk. We were able to verify that it has not. So any subdivision of this parcel would obviously be contingent upon filing of that first subdivision map. And in speaking with the sellers of the property, there doesn't appear to be a feasible way for them to file the subdivision map before we close on the purchase. So that's the only thing. If the board would be inclined to vote tonight and would be inclined to approve the subdivision, we would just ask that it be specifically contingent upon the filing of that prior subdivision map ahead of time. The only other thing, and Jamie is probably better touching on this than I am, but we did get the GML referral back from county planning, and she can go over that with you, but that's really the only two new items since the last time we were in front of the board.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I guess so. The one question we had, because of that first subdivision map not being filed, I do want to clear or make sure that we're all on the same wavelength of what the lot numbers would be.
Right. Jamie, do you want to touch on that?
Sure.
We've had discussions with the surveyor, who is the same surveyor as the prior subdivision.
So had that prior subdivision been filed, this next subdivision is like a subset of the last subdivision. So because we would have a contingency that last year's subdivision has to be filed before this, we're going ahead with the numbering of the lots as, I can't remember now what it was, but it's 1A and 1B, I think.
Correct. Yep.
So you can't really start a new map of that parcel. It's just going to be piggybacking on the other. So we had talked about labeling, I think, them lot 1 and lot 2, but after discussion with the surveyor and Chris, we think that it's best and proper.
Right. So looking at the map, according to the surveyor, the building lot would be 1A, and the vacant lot would be 1B. And then the prior house lot next door would become lot 2.
Okay, that answered my question there. Okay. As we said, we did get county comments back. It touched on the previous non-filed subdivision, and we know on that. Obviously, you've indicated at this point that lot 2, no, 1B, at this point, no immediate intention to either sell or develop that, but being aware, obviously, that if it was, that it would need coordination on the driveway access.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely correct. There's absolutely no plans to do anything with lot 1B, and the comments that the county made were all valid regarding coordinating with DOT on a curb cut, coordinating with in defining the delineation of the wetlands in the back there. And what I respectfully submit is those are valid comments, but they're really for a site plan when the time comes and not for the subdivision.
Mm-hmm. But acknowledgement that they're there. That,
Oh, absolutely. No,
Yep.
And they were both valid points. Absolutely.
okay. Back in February at our meeting, that we did have ECC members there at that meeting, and there have been no negative comments from that board on this subdivision. Does planning board, any comments, questions on this?
No comments.
Nope.
There's 2.
Let's see. So what did they, I was trying to think, I missed that meeting in February, I guess. There was talk of making that area, what was it, a hamlet type? I forgot the name of it. Did that ever go through, or?
Sure. So let me just, this might be a good opportunity. Let me catch the board up of where we are and kind of give an introduction for the basis of the public hearing. So the initial discussions with this property was that the building is, well, the entire lot is currently zoned farm. And the plan by Salt Point Rentals and Salt Point Services is to turn that building into their office, which is not currently allowed under the farm zoning ordinance or code for that district. So we approached the planning board and we approached the town board for a zone change from a farm zoning designation to a hamlet commercial zoning designation. After a bunch of informal meetings with various Pompey boards, the recommendation was to reduce the parcel that we want for a zone change into something less than the full parcel. So taking that guidance, we then formally went, at the same time as we applied to the planning board for this subdivision, we went to the town board and requested a zone change just on the building, the proposed building subdivision lot. So in a nutshell, the whole parcel is about 18 acres. It's split almost in half, but the building parcel is actually smaller. It's 8.5 acres. The remaining parcel is 9.5 acres. So 2 weeks ago, we had a public hearing in front of the town board for the zone change application. That's still pending. The board didn't take a vote on that because we had not received back the GML referrals from the county at that point. So both are going on at the same time. And the hope is that, we'll get subdivision approval, and then subsequently we'll get approval by the town board to rezone just one of these subdivided lots. The other one's going to remain farm.
Does that answer it, Roy?
Yeah, I just want to make sure there still is a route of access to the back property, even though it's in a floodplain or whatever.
Yeah, and just to catch up to,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, I just think it would probably never be developed, but because of the flood, but I just want to make sure there was a way to get to it.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
working with the surveyor and based upon his recommendations, what we did, and Veronica, do you have that subdivision map
Yes.
from before?
Hang on one second. Excuse me.
But in a nutshell, Mr. Smith, the surveyor recommended we split almost in half, but there you go.
Yeah.
So what you'll see is the bigger parcel is the one that kind of wraps around the building parcel. And we've incorporated all of the wetlands into that one parcel. It just seemed to make sense that the unusable, undevelopable land was kept together, while the building lot, which is what's, the whole purpose of the zone change, is also kind of kept together but minimized to address everybody's concerns that let's only apply for a zone change on the minimal acreage necessary. So that's what the surveyor came up with, and that's what that's what we're proposing.
I see.
And is the building going to be lot 1A?
Correct.
Okay.
And then the wraparound vacant parcel will be lot 1B.
Okay, I think unless anybody else needs the map, Veronica could take that back down now. Thank you.
My only statement on this, and I said it last time, and I want to say it again so it's on the record, is I want to avoid burdening the present applicant with the fact that the prior subdivision map was not filed. That really is not the responsibility of this applicant, and I want it to be on record that that's really the responsibility of the town and the previous applicant. So we don't burden this applicant and put off their closing or whatever because a map hasn't been filed. That's really not their responsibility.
And we appreciate that. In looking at the situation, I don't think it's possible for the prior one to be recorded until closing, which is fine, as long as we all know what the proper chronological process is at closing, so to speak. That has to get recorded first, then our deed would have to get recorded, then we would only then would we actually be able to file the new subdivision map with the county.
Jamie, you got anything to add on that?
No, I think Chris said that fine. So it does need to be a condition of the approval because Chris can't even really buy the property anyway, unless it's done in that order. His client can't. So it's not his burden, but it becomes his problem.
Okay. Board, you have it? Yes. What?
Has everything, like, as far as the final map, has everything been taken care of that the town is responsible for? As far as signing it and all that?
We haven't gotten to that point. Oh, you mean on the prior subdivision?
Right.
Yes, the town has done everything the town needs to do.
Okay,
the applicant or the seller is the one that has to go pay the required fees and get it recorded.
okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
Okay, thank you, John. Any other questions from the board? Fees have been paid, and we have an affidavit from the applicant that the appropriate notices were mailed out to all the neighbors within the 1,000 feet. Okay, so from there, I'd like to go into our seeker determination. And this is a series of 11 questions. This is the part 2 impact assessment. There are 11 questions that I will read, and they can be answered one of 2 ways. One being either no or small impact may occur. And the other answer would be a moderate to large impact may occur. We will go through these questions and answer them based on the information that we've been presented with and to the best of our abilities. So question number 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? No or small impact. Number 2, will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity in use of the land? No or small impact. 3, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? No or small impact. 4, will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? No or small impact. 6, will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? No or small impact. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? No or small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? No or small impact. Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? No or small impact. And number 11, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? No or small impact. I would make a motion for a negative declaration on this application.
So moved.
Was that a move or a second?
I was moving.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so Carl, and who seconded it?
Carl moved it.
Yeah, who seconded it?
John,
Thank you, John. So we have motion on the table, all in favor, or at first,
aye.
is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carried for negative declaration. On seeker. From here, I would like to make a motion to open a public hearing on the Salt Point Realty LLC.
I'll second the motion.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now open for questions and comments that the board would answer. Was there any questions submitted at all by anybody that we have record of?
Not that I have on Zoom right now.
Okay,
And I see nothing on Facebook at the moment. And I don't know if there were questions submitted ahead of time. I don't think so.
yeah, I wasn't aware of any. How long do we wait, Jamie?
It's 7:25. The meeting started at 7, so I think we've waited long enough. And I know the
Good.
question was for Jamie, but
Close enough, huh, Kevin?
yeah, I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Okay, and based on everything that has been submitted to us and discussed on this and working with applicant, is there a motion on this application?
Have I got to make the motion again?
Sure. Why
All
not?
right. I
You
will
don't-
make the motion, but I don't have the map in front of me, so I need the map information.
Working on it here.
And the only contingency is the filing of the map on the previous subdivision, I believe. That's the only contingency, yeah.
And that we,
So we don't really have a final map then.
that's correct. It's gonna have to be a revised map with the lot numbers on it.
Correct. But that would be the contingency, is the filing of the previous map and the redrawing, if necessary, of this map to show the correct lot numbers.
Yes. I can tell you that it's the Linwood Starrett Farm subdivision. Also, yeah, Chris, who's the Cottrell?
And it's Gary Cottrell, and the map is dated April 24th, 2020.
And the tax number for that lot?
That was by my agenda here. Actually, the application. Too many papers. Okay. 005.-06-18.1.
So I make a motion that we approve the application of the Linwood Straight Farm subdivision based on a map submitted by the surveyor Cottrell, and is it Cottrell and Company?
Control Land Surveyors.
Cottrell Land Surveyors, map dated April 24th, 2020. Tax ID 005.-06-18.1. I move that we approve it with a contingency that the prior subdivision of the same area map be filed and lot numbers be corrected prior to final approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion as presented?
Yeah, I think there was one thing we talked about now was to make sure that the septic came off the map. I can't really see the map very well, so I don't know if that's done or needs to be done.
Chris, can you help us on that one?
The existing septic, is that what you asked, sir?
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Scratch that. My notes were on the next thing and I accidentally flipped the page.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay. Mistaken identity. Scratch that comment. Okay. Anything else? If not, motion on the table. Approve with conditions. Let's do a roll call vote on this and start with Kevin.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Roy,
Yes.
John,
Yeah,
and Sue is a yes. Any nays? Nope. So the math adds up and the motion with conditions has passed.
Well, thank you very much. I just want to say on behalf of Salt Point Rentals and myself, we really appreciate the board working through this for what are we now, 6+ months, but we really appreciate it. And all the comments you had were wonderful and incorporated into the final plan. So we really appreciate it. So thank you for your time.
Yes, thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jim and Chris.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you, guys.
Okay. One folder shot. Okay. Next, moving on to our agenda, Canary Housing. It's listed as a public hearing on a site plan application. Due to administrative oversight, the public hearing has to be postponed to next month's meeting of June 20th at 7 p.m. We have gotten some new information in from the applicant, and we would like to take this time to further discuss and reach into this and go with what we've got. So we did send the application to the county comments, county referral. They commented back. We do have a new site map, which also gave us a new, well, they did a few things that we did ask them, took off some things that weren't necessary on there and no longer there. And also they have changed the driveway and parking around. Because David, are you with us?
Yes, I
David?
am.
Okay. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what information that you have gotten to us and what has changed on this map, if you would.
Okay, basically we showed the driveway with the parking area and turnaround area. And we took away the location of the old septic system, only showing the new septic system that was approved by the county. And then we also showed the locations of the lighting on the exterior so that everybody would know where it was. And I think that's about it. Yeah, that was the main items.
Yeah, they did supply a letter from Chutes Water Systems. What was indicated on that letter, what they gave us says the well at the above listed property produced a water flow at the rate of 3 gallons per minute for a period of 2 hours. This test was performed on May 22nd, 2020. Copy of their letter from Onondaga County Health Department. I guess based on that, and my curiosity, was a deep test pit and the perk test done at all on this?
We've not done it yet. We did a perk test on the old septic system site. And we did a deep hole over there, but we have not yet done it here. Kind of waiting on, I don't know. Yeah, we were just waiting for the excavator to come back so we can do it. So we can do it at any point here. I don't think there's anything holding us back from doing it.
Do I have a question? Are we talking about a 3 apartment or 4 apartment at this time?
Well, who's the question for?
No, why don't I intercede on that? So we had thought we might be having the public hearing tonight and that this might be ready for an approval on the 3-family. Both the 3-family and 4-family configurations were sent to the county. The idea would be that perhaps the 3-family may have been approved. As it is right now, since our public hearing is going to be at our next meeting, the ZBA will be meeting prior to that. So if they approve the 4-family variance, then we can go ahead and act on the 4-family and never really talk about the 3-family. If they don't approve it, it will be for the 3-family.
And what is the requirement for parking for a 4-family? Is there any specific requirement? Does there have to be more than 1 space per unit?
There's nothing in the code.
Okay.
relative to that. So it's whatever you feel is appropriate. I think asking for information on that is good. You know, how many occupants do they expect, you know?
My position is whether it's 3 or 4, and I know it's being set up where there'll be an individual living in each apartment, but in the future, 20 years from now, you know, it may be multiple people living in each apartment, so the parking could become an issue.
Also, what do you do about visitors would be one of my questions.
Maybe another question of how, I mean, I appreciate that the garage was removed and it indicates parking area and 4 spaces, but the way the gradient is there or slope, I'd like, I know, it just seems like a short turnaround also, or getting the couple of those cars in and out of their slots to get in and out of there. Anybody else on that? And how wide is the driveway? And it snows in the wintertime, so where's the snow gonna be pushed or blown?
I think the snow can be plowed and dropped down the hill. You can drive in with the plow and push it all away and then drop it over the bank.
Going which way?
Going north.
Hmm.
On the north side, north and west.
Yeah, just shove it down the end of the driveway past the parking area.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is the grade goes up there.
Ah, yes.
Grade goes down.
It looks like it goes up.
The driveway's on the high side of the property.
Those are negative numbers. It does go down.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, that's
Okay.
tricky.
Yeah.
Never seen that before.
Yeah.
But still, if there's cars in those parking spots, you can't push the snow over that side.
over the side by the turnaround. So if you had 4 cars in the 4 space area, the turnaround area would be open and you just push the snow off the edge of the turnaround.
Yeah, I don't see that as a major issue. We all deal with having to move our cars to move snow.
Yeah, I didn't see where it was a negative. I had the pitch going the other way.
Yeah.
So,
It looks to me by looking at the map that it must be, the driveway is about 14 feet wide. And maybe the
Yeah.
parking lots are 20 feet long. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think the driveway, I think I drew it at 12 feet wide. The 14 feet is the distance from the property line to the edge of the driveway.
Right.
Yeah. I was just using that to estimate the size. Yeah. Okay.
So it's that width.
And I don't see the snow.
It's really, the turnaround is not adequate, really. There's really, you would have to expand that area out.
We could certainly make the turnaround bigger. That's not a problem.
Yeah, it really does.
So if the 4 spaces are taken up and somebody comes to visit, would they just park in the driveway, park in the turnaround? What would you do for additional cars?
I don't see why they couldn't park in the driveway or pull off the side of the driveway.
Okay.
On the east side of the driveway, they could park in the grass.
In the house next door, they park on the edge of the road, the edge of the property at the road.
This is all assuming that there's only 1 car per unit, but there's some 2-bedroom apartments in there.
Correct. From what I understand, the people that are moving in now will be using it as a 1-room apartment. The second room is being used for off-gassing. But in the future, 30 years from now, it could be 2 people per apartment, or more than that, a family in an apartment. So there may be additional cars. So that may be a problem in the future.
Well, one possibility would be to have parallel parking along the driveway.
Yeah. You'd have to expand the width of the driveway for them, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would concur with that. Yep.
And if it was a problem for the neighboring parking lot, you could have a fence on the property.
Yeah.
And David, there is one, when you say parking area for the fire department,
It's actually not the fire department's parking area. I found out very recently that
yeah,
it's at a church across the street.
yep.
So it's actually their parking lot.
Yes.
Where is the well located for the neighbor to the west in relation to the septic system?
The wall? Oh, the well.
The well, yep.
So the well is, the neighbor's well is 10 foot 8 inches off the property line.
Yep.
And I've shown a 100-foot radius. That well is slightly uphill from where our field is. And the same thing is true from the well on our property. That creates a very narrow area between the 200-foot radiuses where we can do the absorption field. And we're doing the Elgin modules for the purpose of conserving area, and we get a, the Elgin modules do some filtration for the purpose of conserving the space, the area for the absorption field. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're maintaining the 100-foot distance between the septic
Yes.
and the homeowner and the, yeah, next door neighbor.
Yes, we are.
Anybody else have questions, comments?
There are some modifications on the referral. So that we would, the Onondaga County Planning Board referral, that the applicant is required to coordinate Academy Street access plans with the Department of Transportation, Onondaga County. The municipality should ensure any mitigation as may be determined by the department is reflected on the project plans prior to or as a condition of the municipal approval. That's fairly typical. And they also want to make sure that any existing or proposed septic system is reviewed by the Public Health Department. And we can put those in the final resolution.
Which that would be next month after the public hearing on the official resolution then, correct?
Yes.
You already have the letter of approval for this septic system by the county.
Correct.
This is a new septic system. They had to approve it. They did it in September for
Correct.
this system.
Correct.
Is that in that last submittal, Sue?
I believe, I think the only thing that kind of jumped out to me is on that from the health department, it says prior to installation of the sewage disposal system, a deep test pit and percolation test must be performed. If the results conflict in any way with the design, then a revised plan must be submitted for review.
So we can just say in our approval that it's subject to any further requirements of the Onondaga County Health Department with respect to the septic system.
Sounds reasonable.
Okay. Steve, did you have any other comments on that?
I guess I would like to see a copy of the light fixtures they're proposing to use. Like a cut sheet or something from the manufacturer.
And are these lights on all night or are they motion?
Two on the east side are motion activated. One on the north and the one on the west side are just turned on from the inside when needed. They're just average household lights. They're on the side of the house or on the porch, on the ceiling. They're just kind of so you can open the door and see where you're stepping. They're not on all night. That's not something that's good for us. So the two on the east side are solar and motion activated.
You have them picked out and selected or bought or whatever?
No, we haven't picked out, and I did give David the literature on it, and he didn't send it to you, but he did put down some information on the drawings about them.
Is there a way would just to get like the specs on them or that?
That's not a problem. I can get that to you.
Okay. Then we can get those to Steve. Just take a quick look.
The other comment back to the turnaround, I guess, well, one, is the driveway and parking area going to be paved,
No,
asphalt pavement, or
No,
gravel?
it'll just be stone.
Okay, so we really won't know, those spaces won't be delineated at all, right?
Painted.
It could be painted on the gravel if that was needed. I mean, you know, typically people can assess how much space they need, and as long as we've given them enough space, shouldn't be a problem.
Also, when you expand the turnaround, when you expand that area, you have that grade change along the back. Are you going to propose putting like a guardrail or some sort of fencing up there so people know where that edge is?
it's supposed to be gradual enough to be all moved.
And that would facilitate the snow plowing also.
Yeah, I guess you could leave an area where you could push snow to. I just, it looks pretty drastic, the slope, that's all, along the back.
We have a lot of material, partly left from the old barn and partly from excavating under the house and so on. So there's quite a bit of fill, and it's steep right as it is now. But I think we have enough to make a gradual slope.
And Steve, you'd want to see that new slope on a map, on a final map?
I mean, it should. Any proposed changes to the grade that's out there should be on this plan, either with spot elevations or actual proposed contours.
Yeah, I've drawn contours on the map, on the plan.
But that's going to change if the turnaround changes.
That's right. So I'll have to redo it.
Well, I guess, you're saying there's what appears to be existing contours, but are you saying there's proposed contours on here? I don't see any.
Well, I would say the contours are a combination of proposed and existing.
Yeah, it's unclear on the plan what's existing and what's proposed, so it should be differentiated then. Just show the proposed contours or the proposed grade, so it stands out or something.
Well, I don't know if you've been to the site, but you'd have to, what is existing? Is it what you see today? What was there yesterday?
Well, what's there before you propose and put the turnaround in?
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't be changing every day,
What you're looking for, Steve, is that the final map should show exactly what's there. So code enforcement can go out and say that matches the map. That's what we approve.
Well, we should understand what is existing prior to
The change.
build out of the site.
Yep.
So it's, existing in this case would be existing structure, existing grade around the structure, and then the proposed would show any grading around the new addition, the parking area, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Are you looking for like top of wall of the foundation as well, Steve?
I don't need the top of wall, no.
Okay.
They may need that for the building permit, but not. The finished floor would be nice if that was provided. But it looks like on the plan here, it's 0. Is that?
Yeah, the finished floor is 0, and the numbers show the vertical distance from that level.
Mm-hmm.
And the finished floor is the highest point and everything is low.
Okay, so David, on an updated map to be completed and turned back in, we've hit a lot on the parking, and what I took out of it, if you're contemplating possibly having some cars being able to park on the driveway would be a little bit wider. Your parking area would have an expanded turnaround, and that would be showed. We've talked about the gradients there. Neighbors should be listed as far as who are the parcel owners. Should be listed on all four sides around it. And
Do we have to figure that
Well,
out?
wait a minute. I have John Wheeler on the west side. Okay?
yeah,
And then the north side is a town park. The east side, I call parking area for fire department. It's actually parking area for Immaculate Conception Church. And
okay, so
the
make,
south side is the street. So basically,
Right.
it's all on there.
okay, and town park's listed as town park, or is it town of
says-
Pompey
It
actually
says
owns that?
town park. You'll find it right at it's all the way on the north side. It says town park. See? That work, or you need me to say something else?
I don't know, Jamie, you got a comment on that?
I think it's okay.
Okay, but at least correct the parking area for the,
Right.
with the church.
If we go by prior sites, we do 1,000 feet, don't we, from each direction to notify people?
That's
Yeah,
what
done.
I noticed I received today.
Yeah. On the, not necessarily on the map, but when we do the certified mail notices, that's all parcel owners within 1,000 feet of this sub parcel. Yes.
Yes.
Right, and
Yes.
I received the notice you want to send out and the list of those property owners within 1,000 feet today.
Mhm.
I did correct the notice that went out that had Sue with the correct dates.
Okay.
And send that to Mr.
Okay.
Cullen, so he has that now in the spreadsheet.
And go all the way over to the,
Also, Sue, we should call for a public hearing anew, since the other one just didn't go right.
Yeah. So,
So I have a question too. So is it going to be a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom that we're approving or going to be looking at?
We'll be looking at both. Right now, they're published for both because the ZBA may act in between our next meeting. If they act positively on the application, then it'll just be a 4-family.
Okay, gotcha.
I have a question for the board here. If it's a 3, if it's going to be a dwelling for 3 instead of 4, do you think the parking's adequate for that? I'm kind of a little fuzzy on what the board is thinking here. In other words, do we think this is adequate for 3 versus 4, and it's not adequate for 4? And if it's not, how much of a change is necessary? Or are we just looking for him to bring back a proposal?
Well, there is no requirement in the regulations for the amount of parking spaces, as Steve mentioned earlier. So I don't know if this board can require additional spaces because it's not required in the code.
And I think that's part of my point. I'm trying to figure out where exactly we're going with that. So We're just
The way-
making a suggestion that they look at it.
So the way I see it is they have plenty of space if they need to create more parking,
Right.
whether it's parallel parking on the driveway or,
Okay.
going further north, but.
Yeah. I guess one
That's not a
question.
huge concern of mine.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I guess what you could ask for is for those spaces to be shown along the driveway on this plan. Is that something you'd like to see?
Oh, doesn't have to be built unless needed.
Right. Or like future or something like
Well,
that.
it could be labeled additional parking as needed or something like that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, my concern would be if it is a 4-unit, I don't want to see visitors parking on the street, you know?
Right.
Steve, isn't a typical apartment would be like 1.5 per unit parking spaces? Is that kind of normal, like in Cicero?
We're not Cicero, but
It just depends on
some have
how
no.
many are going to be driving.
Well, let me know which town those are. Jeez.
Yeah, I want to just throw this out there too, and just so people understand what the plans that it's a 3-unit, each unit having 2 bedrooms, or a 4-unit, and that also would have 2 bedrooms in it. So just clarification on terminology. That's all I'm putting on that one. Any other questions, clarifications?
What is the blue box on the map?
I guess I had one more thing also.
I need help. I'm looking all black and white.
Yeah, I only got black and white.
I am on, I opened up what was, I don't know if there's a date on here somewhere. Yeah, you know where you see where the shed is? The 8x12 shed, which I think it must be, I don't know if it's west. There's a little, I see a little box that's blue on the map I've got here.
Well, that's where the electric meters are on the shed, on the street side of the shed, facing south.
Well, that's not where I'm seeing this here. Let me try to blow this up a little bit here. It's on the line. It's marked 43 feet - 0 inches towards the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure why. This map says, I think that it was last modified 8 May 20 or 22 May 20. Make sure I'm looking at the same map as everybody else.
Well, there's a map that was done that's last revised on May 21st, and another one was done a day later on the 22nd. And one difference is that the earlier one has an additional tree, and that tree was removed because it's in the process of being cut down. So that may be what you're seeing. It's just below.
Okay.
It's just below the 43 distance mark that shows the distance from the shed to the house. And
Okay.
it's just north of that, and that tree is scheduled to be cut down because it's got a problem of some sort.
Okay.
I think it's dead or
I
dying.
think that's probably what that is.
Okay, I've been trying to look up. I haven't got it totally yet, but minor, but on the map, David, where it says you have it as town park, I do believe the fire department actually owns that parcel.
Okay, I'll,
Clarify, just clarify it before the map's updated, that's all.
okay.
And the other was, if you had the info sheets, to have those in. Other than that, have we addressed everybody's issues from engineering to codes to board members?
Yes.
I got one yes. Anybody else?
Yes.
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 Okay. And I'm a yes on that. So David, I believe we're in a position that with what we've asked for this evening to get the maps updated and the extra info into us. You've got the addresses in the letter to send out.
That's correct.
And you'll need to send, give us an affidavit to the board that it was, you've done your job and that they were sent out. And our next board meeting, which we would schedule public hearing, as June 20th, 2020, 7 p.m.
July.
July. Wow. It's all this COVID stuff. Okay, July 20th, 2020. Excuse my error there. And with that, public hearing for that, had that scheduled. We'll have to send out notices. Okay, what am I missing, Jamie? By that time that we'll have indication from the zoning board, whether we're looking at a 3-unit or 4-unit?
I believe they will act, yes.
What's the date of the zoning board
Jamie?
It's the week before our
Okay.
meeting.
The 13th of July?
Yes.
Yes.
So how do they notify the public? They notify the public that it's a potential 3 or 4, or they just notify them that there's something going on?
There's a public hearing notice that that says there's a project going on there and that the plans are available.
Okay.
Now.
It won't specify 3 or 4.
I don't think so.
Go out certified mail?
Correct. Yes, certified mail.
Do we have anything else?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
We need the motion to call for the public hearing. First,
I
Kevin.
thought we already had the public hearing.
No, we're going to redo it.
It was, we have to start it all
do-over.
over again. Yeah, do over. I make a motion that we hold a public hearing for the 7387 Academy Street, Pompey, New York. I lost the map.
Don't we need to do seeker?
Not till
Just
next.
Just before the public hearing.
Yeah, next time.
Okay.
That we hold a public hearing for potentially 2 or 3 or 4 apartment build out. See if the map by Cornerstone Architects. What's the tax ID for that property? I don't see it on the map.
It's last revised May 22nd, 2020.
Yeah, map last revised May 22nd of 2020. That's my motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Several.
Roy seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a public hearing July 20th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I guess, Jamie, have one question in that, is the zoning, that is a public hearing?
It is.
Okay, is applicant, can they do, dual notice such as Salt Point did? For notifying neighbors?
That is an excellent idea, and yes, because it's quite expensive, and there's a lot of residents that are notified on this. So I would say, Dave, if you can wait, don't, that notice I sent you, don't use it. Let's, let me get with the town clerk on getting a dual notice out
Okay.
for you to send, okay?
So I'll wait for that, and if I don't hear from you in a week, I'll give you a call.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have, I think that was it. Do we have any other business tonight? If not, I think Kevin had a motion. Do we have a second to adjourn?
Two?
What's that?
Second.
I'll second.
I think we got a second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I thank everyone for their time and efforts. Have a
Thank you
good
very
weekend.
much.
Thank you.
Stay healthy.
Thank you for listening to
Good night,
us.
all.
Good night.
Good
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Yep, so